Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us for the MSN in Public Health virtual information session. My name is Tom Kresh. I'm our Director for Graduate Admissions here at Commonwealth University. I will be your host for today. Appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule, whether you are watching live or watching the recording. We look forward to hearing from everybody in the future. This should be an awesome opportunity to learn more about your student experience in the Briner School of Nursing in our MSN in Public Health program. Dr. Carey, before we go any further, would you mind introducing yourself?
Sure, sure. So I'm Dr. Rita Carey. I am actually a nurse educator with the university. I am now the director for the MSN Public Health program. I am a nurse for 30 years, a nurse educator for 20, and I practice as a family nurse practitioner, in Geisinger Health System, along with actually being a nurse educator with Commonwealth University. So.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Carey. Appreciate it.
Sure, sure.
The event should take maybe 30 or 40 minutes. I know Dr. Carey has a tremendous presentation. If you have any questions, we'll be sure to get to them at the end of the event. And again, thank you for joining us, Dr. Carey, if you wouldn't mind kicking us off with the presentation.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're just going to kind of discuss the MSN in Public Health, and I think it's a really great program. What makes it unique from other public health programs is this is specific to nurses. So when you think about an MSN, so your Master's of Nursing with a focus on public health, that makes you so marketable because you have that nursing experience. So there are other public health programs out there, but this is specific to you as a nurse. So with that said, the program really includes about 10 courses, and we actually just made some changes to streamline the process in the program to facilitate, your getting through the program efficiently, and hopefully it'll just help with your process, just to earn that master's. It's rolling admission, so we do accept applications. We accept them pretty much any semester, so spring, summer, and fall. It's 100% online. We have a full-time program plan, but we also allow you to do this at a part-time basis as well, whatever works best for you and your busy schedule. We understand you're adult learners. As adult learners, you have other obligations. You work full-time. Oftentimes you're a caregiver. Sometimes you're a parent. You're caring for a parent, whatever it may be. So we understand you have specific needs, and we really try to accommodate that. One thing that's also very nice is that if you are just finishing your bachelor's, you could roll right into this master's program. So there is no delay if that's something you choose to do. And the students, we have 2 practicum courses at the end of the program, and you can tailor those to your focus and also within your local community. So makes it more convenient and makes it more personalized for you. And then if you're a school nurse, which really is nice as well, is if you're certified, you do get 6 credits towards one of those practicum courses. So we give you credit. It's Nursing 511. And if you have, questions, specific questions, I'd be happy to talk to you more about that. But you would get credit for that practicum course. And also, you could also transfer another 3 credits. And students overall are able to transfer up to 9 credits, which helps with this whole process. So, when you think about that, that could be 27 credits for those certified school nurses, which is, just a nice option for them. So as far as the curriculum, this is just kind of a bullet list of the focus of the courses. So there's a theory course, which is really nice. It just really helps you to develop your own, your nursing philosophy. It really helps you to think about the role development. So, your role as a public health nurse. We have an epidemiology course that's really very nice for a public health focus master's. Research for advanced practice nurses. And that's something that's really commonly required throughout any real nursing master's program. There's a health communications course, family health nursing theory course. We talk about public and population health, of course, because that's the focus of this master's. There's that practicum experience. So at the end of the program, you'll see there's Nursing 511 and Nursing 531, and that's specifically geared towards your focus in public health, you'll choose where you would like to do those clinical hours. And, it kind of brings everything together for you at the end of the program. And then we have a managing course and a leadership course, and it kind of helps you to accept or develop that leadership role. Once you get beyond the bachelor's, you start to get into a master's program. Really, you're considered a nurse leader. So those courses really help you with that role.
And Dr. Kier, can you talk more
Yeah.
about the practicum experience and the expectations and how people may be able to work that into their work responsibilities?
Yeah, sure. So those practicum experiences are really at the end. It's like a culmination of the whole program. So then you're able to really apply and focus some clinical practice in the area that you really want to specialize in. So you'll choose where you want to go, and then you'll have those clinical hours. So it's 180 hours per each course, but you're able to do that over the semester. You're able to tailor that to your work schedule and what works best for you. And then there's like just a project at the end, just basically showing this is what I did. This is how I've applied all of what I've learned through this program into these practicum courses.
And thank you for that. Additionally,
Yeah.
so the coursework, you mentioned it's available 100% online. Are the courses synchronous? Are they asynchronous? Like what is the coursework? What's the delivery mode like?
Yeah, so it is asynchronous. So you will work at your own pace. Everything will be available to you. We really interact very closely with you. So we're always available because of an asynchronous format, meaning you don't have to be in a classroom at a certain time. You do it at your own pace. Everything will be available to you in the learning management system, which is Brightspace. But if you have questions, of course, I teach asynchronous and synchronous courses, but the asynchronous, I am always sure to send you announcements every week. This is what's due. This is what, these are the readings for the week. But I also make myself available. If you have questions, you could always email me. I give my cell phone, you could text. Every so often you have that moment where you're like, oh, I'm just, something may have come up and you have a quick question. So we do make ourselves very available, but asynchronous really is the format for these courses. The only courses that require you to go outside of the online would be those practicum courses, which is very typical of any real master's program in nursing. So, those hours you're going to work within your community, focusing on what you want to specialize in, and you'll coordinate those schedules with the preceptor you choose to work with. And we could, get into more detail with that if anybody has any individual questions on that. But
And I know
yeah.
sometimes we will get questions about, the courses are online, they're using a learning management system, and, this may be new to them from a technological perspective. The good news is it's all very simple technology to use. You can use Google, you can use like Facebook, like it is all very simple. The user experience will be very simple. So it's not anything to be concerned about. And I'm sorry, one more final question about the practicum experience.
Sure.
Are those experiences that the student and the faculty work collaboratively to be able to identify, or is the onus strictly on the student?
Oh, we definitely will guide any student. Like usually students at that point in the program have an idea of where they want to focus their experience. But of course, we will work with them and help guide them, offer advice. But it's really, it's personalized. So it's what works best for them, which I think makes it nice. Yeah. And just to go back, if you have, of course, if they're having any issues, we could offer some suggestions, but we usually want them to determine like what is best for them.
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, just to kind of highlight too, when you said it is, the learning management system that we're using right now is Brightspace. And just to let the students know, you already have a bachelor's coming into this. So you're probably used to some sort of learning management system. They're all similar. They might have a little bit of differences, but just like Tom was, just like you're saying, Tom, it's typically fairly easy to maneuver, and if there's ever any problem, we definitely have supports in place. Oh, I could go to the next. So as far as some of the career options, We do attract school nurses, especially nurses that are certified as school nurses. This is a nice program for them. Again, if they're certified, it's usually only going to require 27 credits because you will get credit for that certification. It does facilitate your process. Public health nurses, like typically will take up courses, Masters of Science in Nursing with a public health focus. You could get into epidemiology. There's health policy analysts, nurse educators, and then there's also, we have that community health nurse focus as well.
And Dr.
Yes.
I'm sorry, real quick, Dr.
Oh,
Carey,
no.
can
Yes.
you talk about, so you're talking about, where public health nurses work. How may the work of a public health nurse be different than, let's say, a bedside nurse?
Sure. So it's more specialized and it really looks at that health prevention, that health promotion. The public health nurse looks at the community to see what are the needs, where are the disparities in health, where are the pockets, like what does this community specifically need? So from my own experience, when I was quite a few years ago, I was a public health nurse and I worked for the city of Bethlehem. And I was in charge of immunizations. I was an immunization coordinator. But within that health department or health bureau, we called it a bureau, there were other focuses. So depending upon what you want to specialize in or what the needs are of that health department, that health bureau, you may, kind of specialize and focus on a specific area. But the purpose of the public health nurse is really to focus on the needs of the community. Really what is identified as an issue within that area, and then kind of going from there. We also have, school nurses. So their population is, the students, right? So they focus on the needs of the students. And that could even be more specialized, whether they're teaching in elementary school, a middle school versus a high school. You could work in outpatient clinics, focusing on the needs of patients in the outpatient setting. Public health nurses do a lot of education. Nurses in general, we are very much educators. But when you get into this role, you're going to be educating at another level, and maybe even more broad, possibly. So there's a lot that we can do as far as public health nurses, but it's really about promoting health, identifying areas where there's a need for programming, different initiatives to improve the health of the population.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm. This kind of goes into a whole another list of areas in which you can work. So another one which is unique is the corrections facilities. That's a specific population that has their own specific needs. Our veterans, so you can work with veterans. There's case management, occupational health. So these are all areas, if you chose, that you could kind of specialize your role as a public health nurse. So it's broad. If you notice, it's quite broad.
Yeah, it seems like public health nurses too, it's going to be more of looking at the big picture. Like you're going to zoom out to 10,000 feet, try to find trends, run some predictive analysis. So that's very interesting.
Yeah, and that's where the epidemiology, that's where we look at what are our trends, what are our issues. Right now in our country, we have a measles outbreak, right? So a public health nurse is really watching that, whether she works for the Department of Health or she works for a local, smaller public health department. They're looking at that. What are our cases? What could we do? Maybe they're then going to set up a program to increase immunization with, the MMR vaccine, because we notice, wow, we're really having an issue. So that's just one example of what a public health nurse can do.
No, and then on top of that, and you had mentioned this earlier, there's also a part of public health that is school health nurse as well too. So
Yes.
You may have people that may take this master's degree and pivot into being a school nurse within a school district, which is also, again, maybe not quite, looking at it from 10,000 feet, you're working individually with students who are your patients. But yeah, it seems like there's a lot you can do that provides, this degree provides a lot of opportunity.
Absolutely. And I think too, but like, it's nice to a lot of people, it's just your own professional, personal goal is to have a master's, in nursing. And this is a nice choice for people. And even those nurses that are in roles where they're saying, okay, now you need to get that master's, you're in this leadership role, or you're in this position, or maybe you're in that school. And, really the expectation is for you to have that master's. This is a nice program for those nurses.
Yeah, we kicked off the presentation by saying why the MSN in public health. And I think
Mhm.
that's what you just said was a great answer as to why. Is it's going to open up opportunity. You're going to give up time. You're going to,
Mhm.
have to put in a lot of effort to get this degree. So what's in it for you? And what's in it for you is
Mhm.
additional career opportunities, an increased pay, your ROI in your degree in MSN
Absolutely.
public health is going to be very high. So this program will provide opportunities that will not be there without having had this degree.
Absolutely. Yes. And I don't think, honestly, myself, just to speak from my own experience, I have never regretted my education. It's something no one, they cannot take that away from you. So, we earn that, but you have that, and it has opened doors for me. So, my first master's was as a nurse educator, and I was so thankful for that. It opened doors for me. And then, I continued on to advanced practice. But I don't think, going through it, it is definitely a commitment. It is a sacrifice. We would never want to act like it isn't, but the rewards for that time commitment and that sacrifice in the moment definitely I think is well worth it. I highly recommend. Yeah, anybody that's on, kind of thinking about it, definitely is worth it for sure. So when we think about the application, the admission process, there is a graduate school application. There's a fee associated. And Tom, I don't know if you know more about that.
Yeah, I do. So for any
Mhm.
student
Okay.
who is with us live or watches this recording, we will waive the application fee.
Oh, that's great.
So yeah,
That's
$35
wonderful.
scholarship, I guess, is what you could call
That's
that.
good. That's, hey, every little bit, right?
That's right.
Very good. Of course, if you have any, we would need your bachelor's transcripts. And then also, it is a master's of science in nursing. So you do need to have your nursing license. So we would need a copy of your RN license. And, it says professional, or Pennsylvania professional nursing license. Current school nurses that are certified. So if you are certified, we would also need your a copy of your certificate, and that would allow us to give you that credit. A resume. So you have those, I'm sure, from when you were applying for your RM positions, but you would want to update those and submit a resume. Typed career goals, and then 3 completed recommendation forms. So anybody that you feel as though could speak on your behalf, you would want to make sure you have 3 references, and then we would interview you. Once this whole process is started, we would look at your application, and we would contact you and we would interview you. So that's the process.
Yep, and like you mentioned earlier, Dr. Carey, we accept
Uh-huh.
applications for the spring, for the summer, for the
Mhm.
fall. So there's a rolling admission process,
Yeah.
and honestly, the application shouldn't take long.
Mhm.
Dr. Carey, is there anything else that you may be looking for um, as you're conducting your admission review? Like, what are the types of things that may not show up on a transcript? You talked about a resume and type career goals, letters of
Mhm.
recommendation. Do you have any suggestions, any kind of tips that you may want to impart on any prospective students watching this?
I think it's just important that really, I think making sure all of the information is included so that we can facilitate that process, I think, is the biggest thing. The transcripts, making sure you're getting those in a timely manner, because some universities it takes a little bit longer than others in order, to kind of have those sent over. And Tom, just correct me. Usually we want those secure, so they'll come from the university, correct? They'll come directly from one university to, so it wouldn't be a copy necessarily of theirs. We want the official transcript.
Yeah, that's a great question, Dr. Care. So
Yeah.
what happens is when you are submitting transcripts, it's not a process of you getting them and giving them to us. It's you contact the previous institution, the university.
Mhm.
Normally the name of the office is the registrar's office. And then normally it's either a verbal request or it's a form that you would have to submit saying, hey, can you please send my transcript from this institution to Commonwealth? So that way it's really just a request on your part and then they send it for you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yes, and I think that it'd be nice to make sure that you have those as far as like the recommendations, those references. We would want those to be professional references. So as much as our family, we love our family loves us. We want it like to be your nursing supervisor. It could be a colleague that's worked with you. If you have some experience in public health, if you have a reference from somebody that could really uh, give you some credit for your role in a public health setting, I think that would be something that would be nice to include as well. So, yeah, I think that's about, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, go to the next. So here's my contact information, and I really would be happy to talk to anybody, any questions that you may have. I'm really excited about. We've just made some revisions to really streamline your process, as I stated in the beginning of this presentation. Our goal is really to support you and facilitate your attainment of this master's. And any way that I can do that, I'd be happy to do that. So I'm the director of the program, and I'm available for any questions or anything that you would like help with clarification, any kind of clarification or any kind of questions you have.
And I know, Dr. Carey, I have a couple
Yeah,
questions, but these are ones that we get frequently from
sure.
students. The first one would be, can you talk to us about the balance between working full time and taking classes? I know that's normally one of the things like, oh my goodness, I'm already so busy. How am I going to fit?
Sure.
Can you talk about your experience both as a grad student, and
Sure.
your experience working with grad students in our nursing programs, and how they're typically able to handle that?
Yeah, yeah. So I think that I personally, from my experience, I actually, I have two masters. I'm not saying anybody needs to do that, and a doctorate. So I just know going through these programs. So my first master's, my nurse educator focused master's, I had two. My sons were young, and life was hectic. I worked full time as a nurse educator while I was pursuing that master's. So I could really empathize, and I understand where a lot of you may be coming, but I just had to have a tight schedule. So I literally would create a calendar. And on that calendar, I had my work schedule, I had their schedule, I had what was required for the classes that I was taking. So I think the biggest thing is kind of knowing that, you have to be a little bit more strict with your schedule, that like, okay, this is what I have to do this week. I think, if you have a support system, that makes all the difference, but not all of us have a support system. So, some things you just have to let go of. So like your house might not be as clean, right? Take the pressure off yourself in areas and focus on what needs to be taken care of while you're doing that. But I think that really it's really just understanding that it is a commitment, trying to organize your time, giving yourself some grace, realizing it's temporary. The big thing too is just know that we are so supportive. I have to say, I really am happy to be a part of Commonwealth University, especially the Briner School of Nursing. And we do understand where you're at. And honestly, I talk to students on a regular basis when they're having a hard time or they're stressed. We work with you. The courses, your core courses are 7-week courses. So for 7 weeks, it could be a little heavy for you. But then, if you wanted to, you could maybe just take just that one course. And then the rest of the 7 weeks, you have a little bit more time. If you wanted to move this along, you could do 7 weeks for say 501 and then 7 weeks for 502. They're two of our two core courses. And then you're moving yourself along this process faster. So it's really dependent upon where you're at in your life. But understand that we understand where you're at. And, of course, our role really is to guide you at this point. You're at a master's level. So, you are a professional, you are out there working as a nurse. So really our job is to guide you, through that process.
Yeah, and you hit a good topic there. Where like this is an investment. This is an
Mm-hmm.
investment in your future career, and really, what any graduate degree is it's short-term inconvenience for
Mm-hmm.
long-term gain.
It truly
This
is.
will, if you survive these 2 years,
Yeah.
and the benefit is you have the rest of your career to see the return on that investment paid back to you. Uh,
Yeah.
so that is such a good point. Again, I know it's really hard for people like, oh my gosh, how am I going to add school on top?
Yeah, yeah.
Totally
And we understand, like we understand,
Yes.
we understand. So that I think is really important to have faculty that really are invested in you and understand. And I have to say, I like our faculty. My colleagues, I really do appreciate them. And I think that, I enjoyed learning. And I think some nurses, when they're going back and they're looking at that master's, some of them, sometimes it's because you feel the pressure you have to, but some nurses, like even myself, I knew I wanted that next level. I felt like it would make me a better educator to have that master's. So maybe, you're in a role where you're like, that master's in public health, that'll just make me a better nurse in the career I'm in, where I'm at now, or it'll open opportunities for you. But, I have to say it's enjoyable too. I know that might sound crazy, but it is enjoyable to learn. Sometimes if you're a lifelong learner, like a lot of nurses are, you do actually enjoy learning. So,
Well, and the other thing too, again, as an undergrad, when students were completing their BSN, like you had to
mhm,
take gen eds, you had to take an assortment
yeah,
of courses. You had to take your
yeah,
chemistries, you had to take all these other courses to round out the rest of your degree, which are very important. When you get to
sure,
grad school,
sure.
you're really just taking the
You're
courses that you're
you're
most
focused.
interested in, right? It's
That's
very
right.
focused on your area of expertise. So
Yeah.
you're right, it tends to be as you progress through your educational career from kindergarten through graduate school, the
Mhm,
focus gets more narrow, but
mhm,
you get to choose the focus. So you get to take the
mhm.
things you're interested in, and that's kind of the goal here. So it is
Yes.
more palatable. Like
Yes,
you're not
for
being forced to
sure.
be like, all right, you got to take calculus again. Like you've
Yes.
already done that part.
Yeah, and our curriculum has been very thoughtful. We just went through some changes to make sure that the courses that are, within the program are courses that are going to benefit the student. So the courses that are here, it was a thoughtful process to streamline the process and also give students what they need to be effective in a public health nurse role. So it's not anything that's like, oh, why do I have to take this class? It's like this class is going to help you. It really is geared to prepare you for that role.
Yeah. Again,
Yeah.
that's another thing, right? Yeah, you've kind of graduated out of theory, right? Now
Yep.
it's all
Yep.
about application. So a lot of
Mm-hmm.
the things you may do in class on a Tuesday, you may be applying at work on Wednesday. So there's
Exactly.
a lot of takeaways, and it's when you can connect the dots of why am I learning this to, oh yeah,
Mhm.
I've already found the application for it. It makes it again, it makes it more palatable. So that is so.
Absolutely.
And again,
And
Dr.
even,
Gary, you and our
yeah,
professors in the program are former, graduate students. Like you had to have a
yeah,
grad degree to get to
absolutely.
your role as a professor. So you understand, and I think one of the things that is nice about graduate school as well is your relationship with faculty is more collegial,
Mhm.
right?
Oh,
It's more of a
absolutely.
peer to peer.
It truly is. It truly is. Yep. And that's it. And that's why we say, like, if students are having an issue, and it's Saturday, I have talked to students on a Saturday. I've talked to students in the evening. We understand that you're in the middle of your life and you have other responsibilities, whether you're a caregiver or you have children or you have, most students work part-time to full-time. So we really do understand it. Yes, for sure. For sure.
That's a great point. And then
Yeah.
one other topic I want to hit on before we sign off is
Sure.
the costs. And I know the
Yeah.
cost of graduate school is not inexpensive, but what I'm confident is that you will find far better value here at Commonwealth and the Briner School of Nursing, frankly, than you will anywhere else. So this is again, when you talk about the return on your investment, this is something that is really important. So again, the value you'll get from your degree here is tremendous. Um, but I think
Mhm.
that really kind of wraps up the open
Yeah.
Q&A part. Dr. Carey, before we sign off, did you have any
Yes.
final parting advice for anyone who may be watching us live or watching the recording?
I would say, like, reach out, feel free. My email is there. I'm very responsive with my email. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to facilitate this process for you if you decide you want to. Be thrilled to have you in the program. But even if you just have questions, we're presenting here for the public health nursing, but we have other programs as well. But yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me.
All right, great. Thank you. And
Mhm.
again, for anyone watching live
Absolutely.
or watching the recording, we appreciate your time. We look forward to hearing from everybody in the future and hope you have a great day.